Hello out there. My name is Laolu Akonde, and you are on to Inside Sources. Here is my tip for today: the Iran conflict and rising fuel prices. Why the silence from government? Since the US and Israeli conflict with Iran, we have seen the ripple effect hit the global oil market. And naturally, Nigerians are feeling the impact of the price. Cost of living is rising again, and fuel prices are right at the middle of all of that. But the real question is, where is the government, our elected and appointed government officials in all of this? Who is stepping forward to explain consistently to Nigerians what is going on? Who is reassuring Nigerians that there is a plan to manage the impact in their interest? People are not being told anything. And it is not just about the unwillingness to speak by some officials. It points to a deeper issue where communication with the people is still not treated as a priority in governance, and that is mediocrity. At a time like this, Nigeria should be hearing regularly from the petroleum minister, from the GCEO of NNPCL, from the boss of NMDPRA, and all those directly responsible. They should be hearing from them not once, not occasionally, but consistently and regularly. So far, not a word from these people that we have mentioned. Again, the Minister of State, Mr. Enekin Lokobiri, not a word. NMPCL's Bayo Ojurari, not a word. NMDPRA Saidu Muhammad, not a word. Instead, the loudest voices right now are coming from the private sector players. Dangote Refinery has been speaking, explaining these price increases, going up, and pointing to growing demand from other African countries, particularly South Africa, Ghana, and Kenya. Petroleum Products Retail Outlet Owners Association, Petron, has also warned that PMS could rise significantly to as high as 2,000 naira per litre. No response from government. Independent Petroleum Marketers Association, IPMAN, is also already telling Nigerians to brace up for higher prices. Even Crude Oil Refinery Owners Association of Nigeria, CORAN, is pushing for full implementation of Naira for crude policy, saying that hopefully that can help in circumstances like this. So effectively, the conversation with the public has been one-sided, only from the private sector. And that raises a fair question. Are those responsible public officials that we mentioned, are they engaging at all with the people on these issues that directly affect them? Because indeed, there are still issues. PMS, which sold for about 900 naira before the Iran war, is now up to 1,400 naira in parts of the country. That is over 50% spike. So what should be happening? Number one, there has to be a visible engagement between government and the stakeholders in that sector. The marketers are already talking about tax relief that can help bring down the price. Fine. Let us hear what government has to say about that. Bring that to the table. What is realistic and what can be done? Second, Nigerians deserve some level of transparency around pricing, whether it's a stabilization approach or at least a clear explanation of how those prices are being determined. This is not the time to hide those things. And third, there should be practical thinking around short-term relief, especially for low-income earners who will feel this impact most through the rising cost of transportation, which people are already dealing with. Now, beyond all of that, communication is critical to developing trust between government and the people. The Ministry of Petroleum, NMDPRA, and NMPCL need to be speaking clearly and regularly. For instance, what is happening to crude oil supply? How are they managing the situation? What should Nigerians expect in the coming weeks? This is not too much to ask, specifically from these agencies. Yes, it is a good thing that the coordinating minister for the economy, Mr. Wali Edu, did say just less than 2 weeks ago that things are being monitored, and he had also ruled out price control. We know that. But at a time like this, one statement about 2 weeks ago is not enough. And the minister's voice should not be a replacement for the operationally autonomous agencies such as NMDPRA and NMPCL. People need to see well-considered engagement. They need to hear from the responsible agencies, not just once, but as the situation is evolving. Silence, especially now, is sending the wrong signal. They don't care. Don't you guys care? We can't have a democracy and people hide from such germane issues when they come to the public fore. All of this brings us back to the bigger issue, the long-standing opacity in the oil and gas sector. Moments like this and that allegation from the member of the House of Representatives only makes the situation worse. At the very least, Nigerians deserve to be kept informed if indeed there is any attempt at all to help them manage this global oil market crisis. It affects their daily life. Government exists purely for the welfare of the people, and we are talking here of a democratic government for that matter. And so this is no time to be quiet. This is the time to speak up and tell us what is happening. NMPCL and NMDPRA especially. And there you have it. Inside Sources goes full blast right after this. I'm going to have two segments, one with Professor Yemi Oke and also a conversation with Future Is Now, a group of young people and politicians and professionals who say it is important to get young people involved in politics. Don't go away. Welcome to Inside Sources. Today I'm leading the show with a conversation with a leading Nigerian professor of law, specifically energy and electricity law, who is also a senior advocate of Nigeria. I'd like to welcome, for the first time, to Inside Sources, Professor Yemi Oke. Prof, good to see you at last.
Finally, we're able to make it happen.
Excellent.
I'm happy to be here with you.
Yeah.
And thanks for the good job you're doing.
Thank you.
Discussing the polity and challenging the governance actors.
Well,
so whipping them in line.
Yeah, just do our own bit, because there is great expectation for
that is important really, for all of us.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
So I normally ask my guests that if you look at where Nigeria is today, do you think we're on track to that great future that many of us believe is the destiny of our country?
Thank you for that important question. And I'm speaking as a conscientious Nigerian. We're now on track. Let's talk about why am I saying we're on track. Let's take my own sector, because I belong to several sectors. Let's take the educational sector. Now, the university teachers are not complaining, but they're no longer sad as they used to.
I'm happy to hear that.
They are not complaining, not that they are happy. They are happier compared to
relatively.
But they're no longer complaining. That took decades. Even when they had a signed agreement, previous administration did not honor it. But now the agreement has been documented and there was a signing ceremony well covered by the media. So it's not something that any new government is going to renege on. So then a lot of our colleagues are now back in the classrooms doing what they love to do, because if you belong to the academia, your expectation is not to be the chief launchers at functions. It's a profession that you're happy to impart knowledge, train future superstars of the country globally, and train doctors, lawyers, architects, media people, to keep the country and the world going. That's your passion. And when you get to the airports, when you get to functions, you are celebrated. Governors get up to come and carry your bags and do stuff for you.
Because they were your students.
That is the joy that some of us derive from it. So if you're looking for money, the wrong place to go is to go and take up a teaching job. So money doesn't drive most of us there. We just want to be happy to keep doing what we do. So they are happy to do what they do now. Talking objectively as a conscientious Nigerian. To our students, now they sit at home in their hostels and they come regularly for lectures. Why? They wouldn't need to go also to survive because there's this net from student loan that gives them stipend. Those who are qualified. That is looking at the future, being futuristic. Now,
the stipend is different from paying the tuition.
The stipend is different from the tuition.
So it pays the tuition
and gives them something to eat their to eat breakfast. Government is spending billions of money. That is investing in the future of the country. And the way to look at the future of the country is to look at what happens to the youth. And you have all kinds of empowerment things. I was complaining somewhere where I said, okay, when the government is not listening to teachers, you're making it difficult for us to do our jobs. No problems. Well, you are telling us to train engineers. You construct those flyovers that will kill in minutes. You're telling us to train doctors who will probably forget scissors and other stuff in the bellies after the surgical operations. You are telling us to train pilots who will probably not know how to navigate. And they said, no. And so we need to make them happy because we belong to a critical sector.
Yeah.
So, and, education is key. Yeah. And that determines the future of the country. So I think looking at that, we're just started getting it right in terms of education. You can even see artisanal stuff happening in the technical education and the rest, the attention of the government in that direction.
Yeah.
Let me leave that. Let me come to the judiciary. One of the first things that happened, I'm talking about my sector. Let me just be biased for once.
Yeah, of course. You've talked about education, now you're going to
law, which is my section.
Right.
One of the first things the administration did was to triple salaries of judges. Well reported. Do we still have, I would admit that we still have a few bad eggs in there.
So we're talking of federal judges or all judges?
Federal judges. Of course, the thing it will percolate because there's a component of it that goes to NJC. NJC appoint judges.
Right.
Whether for state or federal. And there's a structure as to judges. It's equalized. The difference isn't that much. Isn't that significant?
But it's the state that make the payment.
The state will make payment. There's a matching grant from NJC, from the federal. So because, of course, some state, of course, you realize that EFCC take federal cases to state courts.
Yeah.
So courts serve both federal and states.
Yeah.
So that's why some laws of the state are enforced by the state or federal. And then when you are convicted of an offense based on a state law, you get taken to a correctional center of the federal government. So there's a way the judicial system is intertwined and interrelated. So let me leave that. Nobody's disputing this. Let me come to the power sector, which is my specialization. After almost 2 decades of advocacy, when we had the now repealed Electric Power Sector Reform Act of 2005, some of us started pointing out that there's a problem here because the law was just a piece of legislation to reform, to midwife sectoral reforms. It wasn't meant to operationalize the sector. It wasn't meant as a piece of legislation that would drive the sector. So it
didn't go far,
It was just about how to get things done, privatize, and not do all those things, initial stuff. Yeah. So we needed a piece of legislation that will now drive governance and regulation in the power sector. We didn't have that until 2023. Within days of the coming on board of the current administration, he signed that law. However imperfect the piece of legislation might be, because you don't expect a perfect law. You can amend, you can repeal. I mean, we have a law now that may be used to operationalize the power sector. So what has been happening since then? We now have to tinker with the Constitution that made it possible for what it took me two decades of advocacy in channels, in all the media houses with your team, the Maokpes, the Chamberlains, the Sulaiman of those days when we bring the Nigerian Constitution, bring the electric power sector reform that we are reading to Nigerians, educating Nigerians as to point out the challenges we had in the power sector and amplifying the urgent need to change the narratives.
And the essential thing is that states now can regulate.
So after the advocacy, this government says, change the Constitution to make it possible for state and federal government, be it on-grid or off-grid, both generation, transmission, and distribution. Federal and state government have concurrent powers. So state A will not need to wait for state B. State B may be on 24-hour access, while state B may be on 0-hour access to electricity. Those states can now completely on their own. Those are signs of development and growth that you wish to see. And then we're not talking of restructuring certain things in the power sector. Let me just, looking at just three sectors that I interface with. I'm speaking conscientiously, I've seen remarkable changes, all pointing in the direction of a country that is ready to go on autopilot. And now we are talking of states doing certain things. You remember, objectively, I recall when Professor Shibajo was the Attorney General of Lagos State. He was coming regularly to our law office then in the UBA house. I won't mention the name of the law office so that they will not have to send bills to them for the hard, but we're coming to do Lagos Enron project thing. It was supposed to be a game changer. The current administration, as governor saw the future, was trying to do something in this direction. But the federal might killed it.
It was President Obasanjo that killed it.
I'm not going to mention it. But I know the former Attorney General Prof was coming, going, all kinds of books were doing.
I don't want you to have to say it, but I want to tell our viewers that President Olusegun Obasanjo killed that Enron project.
So now Enron died. That was 1999, 2000. Lagos State made the move. 26 years later, we just want to go the same direction. And you can imagine if you had allowed Lagos Enron project thing to see the
you can imagine the loss, and this is my own pain, which is part of the reason why we are here. Can you imagine the loss of 26 years, something that we could have sorted 26 years ago. And that's the pain.
Even the Lagos Metro line that
President Buhari,
General Buhari, then under the
General Buhari,
we're not going back to the system. So those are my worries. As a Nigerian, we don't need to take one step forward and take 3 or 4 backward. But now we've seen a trend of consistent attempt at making steady progress.
Okay, Prof.
Which I pray is not reversed.
Yeah, okay. I think you've taken quite a bit of time, and I think it's important to let you analyze it. And I don't have a lot of disagreements with the approach. Yeah. First of all, I am delighted, considering my own reportorial career. I was one of the reporters in 1992 that the ASU strike into a major issue. Which we are very proud. So I have been involved with university lecturers and the need to do something worthwhile. So when Dr. Alausa, with the support of President Tinubu, sorted that problem, that was a big deal.
That's a big deal.
And I know that. And we must give Dr. Alausa his accolades. And of course, the president who told him that we have to do this. So I agree with that. And I also agree with your analysis, about, what we are trying now to do at the level of structure regarding energy.
Yes.
The area that I want you to now address, before we go into, because I want us to talk more about, this energy sector, electricity, is that. So there are still some very critical problems, in my view. 2 are the ones that I normally talk about. The level of poverty in our country is alarming. And we still see a lot of, profligacy, whether wittingly or unwittingly on the part of government. I have served in government, so I saw it even when I was there. So it's not a question that I'm saying that, oh, is this government? No, it's been on, and that worries me, because anybody who's president can put a stop to these things.
Yes.
Okay. And then corruption. Look, so I believe that judges ought to be well paid. Clearly, and I know what Professor Shibajo did when he was attorney general.
Of course, that was
in Lagos.
Yes,
so
he started the whole thing.
Exactly.
Judges are being paid peanut, then
exactly. He even told the story of how he found out that one of the judges was living in a boys' quarters.
Yeah.
So those are important reforms.
Going in taxis to give ruling. They never had official cars.
Yeah.
I think opened the eyes.
Exactly. Exactly. And a lot of states even follow through. So I'm also delighted about the reforms in the judiciary that you spoke about regarding. Yeah. But the corruption in our society, Professor, you cannot deny the depth of it. And I don't want us to necessarily go into details except you contest it. So those are the two things that I have a problem with. And I'm not sure that the current administration is doing enough in those two areas. Now, I'm not one to dump everything on the federal government. No. A lot. As a matter of fact, my other issue is in the area of human capital development, so that you can comment. And it's the states there. The hospitals, terrible. Schools, I'm sure that if I ask you the schools that you attended, maybe Lagos State is even better. What is happening there? Everybody has private schools. A lot of our political elites have their children abroad. So those are issues that it's the states that are responsible. So I'm not holding the federal government responsible for that, education and health. So how do you respond to those critical areas, Professor? Okay.
Thank you. I don't know how you want me to talk. Do you want me to talk as a scholar?
Be free. It's entirely up to you.
Let me talk as a scholar. One, I never will support anything that has to do with corruption or corrupt tendencies. I hate it, like with a passion. So I don't respect any corrupt leader or any corrupt person as a person. I think I'm entitled to my whole attitude. But as a researcher, I am minded to think that our problem might not be corruption, the way you have painted it.
Okay.
Let me give you a typical scenario. I said this in one of my classes, and my student was like, you never thought of it. I wanted them to reason differently as scholars, not just reason the way I navigate.
Yeah.
So, one, assuming the money in the system is in this studio.
Okay.
The money in the Nigerian system is in this studio. A greedy person comes as governor, takes a chunk to another corner.
Okay.
Another greedy person takes a chunk to another corner. Another person comes who doesn't want to takes the bits he needs to another corner. At the end of the day, where's the money? The money remains in the system.
True.
For as long as the money remains in the system, it doesn't matter in whose possession the money is, because the money is in the bank working for the system. So if you've stolen billions of naira, it's going to be in one of the banks. I can go there as a farmer, get loans, get mortgage built. If your problem is about the trillion you want to steal the trillion, let it be in the system working for all of us. But our problem starts with capital flight.
But the problem there...
I'm getting there. That's why I asked you...
There's a violation of law.
Getting sorry.
And I see your point. But please, you are a lawyer.
Let me
if somebody steals public money, he has broken the law.
Let me
okay, please go ahead.
I asked you, you want me to talk as a scholar.
Yeah.
Intellectuals don't do 2 + 2 = 4 kind of thing. Okay. That's not the way we're wired. Okay. I'm sure you are getting to see my point.
I know.
That's why I say corruption per se. I'm not saying corruption is good. Corruption per se might not be the only problem we have. So I'd like to talk about solutions, right? Because that's my motto, in search of the solutions. I know everybody is stupid, stealing, but okay, if they steal, but can't we work around the stealing to discourage stealing? So everybody steals, the money remains in the system. You want to buy your shoes, want to invest in a business, you have access to capital because they are not able to take it out. 2, the money works in the system, the multiplier effect of the system. So nobody's going to go around on the street with his trillion in his pocket. It's going to be somewhere that works in the system.
Yeah.
So that solves that problem. So how do we now discourage corruption? We talk of capital flight. The system allows capital flight, which is the worst form of corruption. The money in the system, they steal it. Once they're able to take it off the roof, down the stairs, you don't have any money in the studios again. That's capital flight. That's our problem. If the money being stolen had been in the system has a way of redistributing the wealth through multiplier effect in the banking system, in the business sector, in commerce and real estate, and deal with those who are stealing the money. If, of course, the law will respond to jailing them, to discourage them, confiscate those assets. Nigeria essentially produces, of course, and I'm going to also tax you, because when we look at this thing, I like to talk about the problem that we have. Nigeria is a country that depends essentially on crude. We make dollars from the sale of crude oil. Yeah. Right? The money comes to the system, and then the system pays salaries. Then you still gather the money. The money we generate from the crude oil we're selling as a country to go and patronize foreign goods and services. Right. Nothing percolates down into the system. I'm sure none of your attire is made in Nigeria. Yes, the naira, the much of the naira the much of the naira you have generated. I'm going somewhere. I'm coming. I bought this in Lagos. No problem. I'm getting somewhere. The much of the money you've generated, you're going to take it back to foreign economies to buy this kind of beautiful suit that you're wearing, to buy your expensive wristwatch, to buy your expensive phone gadget. So the money, the system goes back to foreign economy, and we don't bring anything back because we're a consumer country. So the wealth of the nation gets filtered away through capital flight, through foreign patronage, because we've not practiced what is called aggressive protectionism.
I want us to move to, because of our time, to talk about energy. You are named as a member of the 11-member committee, presidential committee on setting up of the grid asset management company. Now, I think that has something to do with the problem of electricity.
Yes, please.
Now, we're going to go a little bit political. In 2023, during the campaign, 2022 actually, just before the elections, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said, if I don't give you power, that whatever it takes, if you don't generate enough electricity, and he even said that then we will stop estimated billing. Don't vote for me. Now, this committee, this presidential committee, grid asset management company, seems to be like a last-ditch effort to solve that problem. Now, tell me if that is what it is, and if it is not, tell Nigerians, educate us. What is this presidential committee on grid assets going to do to solve the problem of generating and transmitting enough megawatts for our people?
First and foremost, the area you're going into, if you keep talking consistently for 3 months, we would never be able to exhaust the challenges in the power sector.
I agree.
So because it's deep, and I've written books that I'm still reading, I'm still writing, I'm still digging. So on that is a major challenge. Number 2, let me talk about the politics of the power sector that you mentioned. Let me talk as a conscientious Nigerian. Ordinarily you expect the president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to feel personally pained. One, because he was the one that felt we needed to go the way of decentralization with the Lagos Enron experimental power project. Now, That was botched by federal might. Nature now tossed him with the yam and the knife.
27
years after. You naturally will expect, you want to quickly be passionate about that and fix it.
Yeah.
So the intention has always been there, demonstrably.
But why did it take him so long to come to it?
Because the president cannot be the one in charge of everything. He will only put you and I as Nigerians in there. That's one. Two, there are institutional structures that ought to be in place. Within months, quite frankly, within months, they changed the constitution to remove dichotomy between federal and state grid. To the extent that, be it home grid, off grid, generation, transmission and distribution, and services or trading, federal government has powers. State do.
The state also now have the power.
So it's no longer a question of looking in the direction of the federal government. Two, that was also replicated in the Electricity Act of 2023 that was signed days after his assumption of office of Tinubu. So that should tell you that, this man meant this. The legal and regulatory structure that would drive that had been put in place within weeks of coming on board. And we've seen body languages in terms of visiting Germany to talk with this German chancellor on Siemens thing, because Siemens had a contract in that regard to push in, and he put somebody there who was supposed to be the minister, and he put there were things that have been done. There's expediting actions on transmission, restructuring under the TCN and all that. We've seen strategic policy measures that have been taken. But power sector, it takes a while for it to manifest. And this grid asset thing is also coming on board. Honestly, if I was sitting on the table of Mr. President, in terms of leadership, in terms of direction, in terms of law, in terms of regulation, in terms of constitutional enablement, there's nothing that ought to be done that the President has not done. But in Nigeria,
you've not seen state police.
No. See, you could see. You see, those are the things. You still need to see. Okay, even state police. There were debates, National Assembly. Some states initially resisted. Some states are now supporting. Even the power sector. It's now 3 years that we've had decentralized electricity structure. Yesterday in channels, when they are reading newspapers, headline news. The Guardian newspaper headline says 16 states falter in decentralization of electricity. 3 years later. 3 years is enough for states to start to show serious signs in that regard.
Absolutely.
We can no longer put the blames of the power sector at the doors of the presidency of the federal government. It is a concurrent thing. Just as you can't blame the federal government for educational challenges in the state, but it's a challenge both for federal and state.
But I think the presidency has the upper, sorry for interrupting you. I think the presidency has the upper end limit for fixing power.
Now,
I agree with you.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
It's changing.
It's changed.
Because it's just new.
Let me assess something.
States. I think you should give the states. Let me show them responsible.
Let me say something.
Yeah.
Maybe as we wrap up, or we still have more time, we keep talking. Let me give you this. Of the regions in the country, the region that is most strategic is the northern region.
In what sense?
Thank you. The 3 hydros that we have that are functional, Kanji, Shiroro, and the other one, are in the northern part of the country. The hydro capacity of the north is massive and is about the only working hydro that we have in the country.
Yeah.
That's one. 2, the
and there's even
solar radiation. Mabila is also coming about. There is a solar radiation in the north. By the time you come out of the plane in Abuja, you're going to feel the heat. And up north, massive solar capacity. Combined hydro and solar capacities of the northern part of the country could take care of the entirety of energy need of the country. As state actors, regional actors in that region, are they looking strategically in that regard? If you go south side, you're going to see abundant gas capacity for them. So Anna said with the new structure that we have, states should be able to develop based on their competitive advantages. Not should develop based on this competitive advantage in hydro and solar, which is massive, which could take care of the needs of the country. So we are challenged in terms of our thinking processes and structures, in terms of our governance structures and model, in terms of the way we even envision things. Federal problem. The way we are going with the decentralization that has happened, let me tell you, I always predict the future in the power sector. If I tell you we're going to have 20 grid collapses in a year, we'll have 20 or 21. I got to a level, they were thinking I was a prophet of doom. I now said, no, I won't do that. But now I'm telling you, the future of the power sector is such that state A may be growing because of stable electricity than state B. And the respective states will have to compete at their own levels.
Okay, Prof.
That is the law now. And it can be reversed, just as we expect.
Because of our time, the survivor has done 40 minutes and we plan 30. So I want you to take maybe 2 or 3 minutes to answer this last question. So,
excuse me.
And I already asked it, but let me say it again. So tell us, what is this grid asset management company that you guys are setting up? What is it going to do? In 2-3 minutes, please.
Well, Grid Asset Company is a development and financing vehicle. It's a special purpose vehicle that seeks to take care of idle asset of the federal government through pilot schemes. The first pilot case is going to look at the Ihobo power plant. Ihobo.
Where is that?
In Benin, as is Olorun-Shogo and Papala and Olorun-Shogo.
In the southwest.
In Ondo and Papalan too, and Olorun-Shogo, Omotosho and Ihobo. In Edo State, Ondo, and Ogun State corridor.
Right.
And it's going to take, those assets have been assets of the federal government under Niger Delta Power Holding Company, NPDC.
So they're taking it out
the NIPP that Obasanjo did. Those assets have been with the Niger Delta Power Holding Company for decades. They've never been able to do much with it. And there is a new thinking in government that says, hey, this idle capacity, we could optimize it to give us not less than 1,800 megawatts that will serve the commercial and industrial hubs around that corridor. Once they finish with that, they go north and tap into the hydro and solar capacity and go south, tap into the gas structure. So those idle assets
will be different grids.
Different grids. And so the existing structure, so there is going to be a loop, a situation in which you have a centralized grid that once there is a
decentralized, you mean?
A situation in which we had a centralized grid before, that whatever happens, if something happened in Niger now, it's going to affect them in Bayelsa. No country will survive at that model. So they're trying to put it into the structure, the national grid.
So this one that you talked about, the Olorun-Shogo, Papalanto, and the Benin, hydro that you want to...
IPP plan.
How long do you think that will take for it to get to the people?
So because it's a zero finance, it's zero recourse to federal funding, because it's IPP, just like what we have in the days of NLNG when they started with the idea of NLNG. I always liken it to NLNG. In the same law office that we were, the Nigerian government felt NLNG was coming on board. Then the NNPC, so the NNPC says, don't bring LNG. We had the capacity to deal with it. Anything gas, we have Nigeria Gas Company that deals with gas. Federal government put its feet down and said, no, let's have a different thinking. Let's have this special project. Energy is now a success story. The same thing when we started, some people say, no, we have the TCN now, we have this. I said, no. They've had this asset for donkey years. They didn't do anything with it. Private sector is coming. That's why this GAMCO is a development and financing special purpose vehicle.
So you're going to get
to run it successfully, and the commercial center, the industrial and commercial center will take care of almost 60% of our national in terms of development and wealth generation.
How soon do you think this will happen?
12 to 18 months.
Fantastic. Okay. All right, we can continue.
Honestly, if it's something we've been advocating for several decades. I'm happy to get on board now that we have somebody who's willing. These guys have been talking in the media. Okay, let's now do it. That's okay, no problems. Let me be a part of this and start to. I've always liked to be a part of the solution anyway.
Me too.
That's exactly what
that's what we are trying to to say that, look, let's see what has to be said. I mean, it's the reason why after serving in presidency 8 years, I didn't go back to New York.
Honestly.
I said, there's no use. Let's stay here. This is our country.
No,
and the potentials are here.
New Yorkers will not come and develop our country.
Exactly.
I used to see, just as you did, when I finished my PhD, I wanted to practice law and teach. I wasn't going to stay back in Canada just to teach or practice. I wanted a career where I can combine both. So early enough, after my PhD, I came back here. Why? Because I saw myself as a brain gain, as against brain drain that we had those years. And to date, we have no regret. We've been adding value to our country. We'll continue to do more. About the grace of God, we'll be able to build a country of our own.
I believe so.
Passion.
I believe so. Thank you so much, Professor Yemi Oke, Professor of Energy and Electricity Law and a member of the 11-member Presidential Committee for the Grid Asset Management Company. Thank you for the insight that you bring and the brilliance of your ideas, and thank you for coming to Inside Sources.
My pleasure.
All right.
Thank you for the great job you are doing to our fatherland and humanity.
Thank you so much.
Bless you.
Thank you so much.
There you go.
And that's a segment. Now I'm going to transit to a short segment where I'm having a conversation with a group that is called Future is Now. And that is because here on Inside Sources, we want to talk about the future. It's about how young people can get involved in the political process. Inside Sources will be right back. Welcome back to Inside Sources. In this segment, I want to have a conversation with the leaders and the co-convener of the Future is Now movement, a movement which is set to ensure that we have more young people engaged at an early stage in Nigeria's politics and governance, a movement to which I am also involved. So I'd like to welcome to Inside Sources for the first time the lead for strategic communications of Future is Now movement, who is also a former special advisor to the Minister of the FCT and head of the missions for Leadership and Accountability Initiative, Honorable Henry Shield. Honorable, welcome to Inside Sources.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right.
It's a pleasure.
Good. And with him, we have a co-convener of the Future is Now movement, Mr. Ibrahim Zena, who is also the Deputy Speaker of the Nigeria's Children Parliament. He is, by the way, a law student at Base University. Ibrahim, welcome to Inside Sources.
It's a pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, like I said, I'm also a part of this movement for full disclosure. Let's start with Henry, Honorable Henry. Can you just tell our audience what the Future is Now movement is all about?
Thank you. It's basically, it's a movement geared towards transferring leadership to the younger generation. You and I are no longer youths. So there must be
I try to see myself as a young one.
No. At heart, we can be youth, but some of us have children in the university, even though we still look young. But we need to be intentional about transferring leadership to the next generation. The ones before us didn't do it for us. That is why at 40, 45, 35, you still see adults who believe they are youth and who are still playing the same role that people in their 20s should be playing. There was no properly cut out plan to say, at this age, we are transferring leadership to this generation. My generation is missing. In the leadership structure of Nigeria, my generation is missing. Because the people who were in power in 1980
are still around
till today. So they've cut off our generation. So we need to make sure that the next generation is not cut off. That is actually the, I'm just giving a background of the Future is Now. We need to stop promising them leaders of tomorrow and put them in strategic positions today, engage them mentally, engage them psychologically, engage them in every way possible. Believe me, when Nigeria gained independence in 1960, majority of the people who championed that cause were young people.
Yeah.
Majority.
True.
Now, their age mates, as at then, those in the same age bracket today, the age they were, 40 and below,
30,
those in that age bracket today, most of them don't even have a structured lifestyle to say, okay, I have a family, I have a job, I have this. There are still people who are missing in the strata of leadership poll in the country. So the future is now, thought it wise. And all thanks to Congressman Dasuki, who felt the need.
That's the representative. Abdul Samad Dasuki
from Sokoto State, who sat down and came up with this brilliant, first of its kind initiative. Young people should not be left in the ocean of confusion. Growing up, they not knowing what they want to do, not knowing where they are going, not knowing where they even belong in the leadership strata. He felt the need to convene the future is now project and have young people, our children, take over. And he made, for the record, he made an un-Nigerian sacrifice. Never seen such a thing. That he wouldn't contest the next election. He's currently a member of the House of he was the House of Assembly, House of Rep member who exposed the tax stuff in Nigeria. That he wouldn't. He is sacrificing his own seat to ensure that a younger person comes on board.
So he's giving up that position
completely
in order to allow a younger person to
come on board. So
as a demonstration of his own personal contribution
and belief and conviction in the dream.
Okay, all right. It's a good way to start. And like I said, I'm also a member. It's a collaboration between those of us, just like Henry has said, who believe that there has to be a strategic arrangement to get younger people involved in the future of the country, and we are believing that it is now. Now we have, one of such person in the here with us in the studio. Like I said, is Ibrahim Zena. Is the co-convener, because I think there are about 3 conveners, including myself, by the way, and he is a law student. So, Ibrahim, can you tell us, how do you see this idea and your own involvement in Future is Now?
Thank you very much. I think the Future is Now is a movement that a lot of young people today are passionate about it. Growing up, I started advocacy since I was at the age of 9. I believe in the power of children and youth. I believe that if we are given the opportunity, if we are given the space to take part in decision making, we will truly find solutions that are sustainable, because we have first-hand experiences of the current issues that are, directly affecting our lives. So for me to be part of this Future is Now movement, it goes to show that the core idea of this campaign is not lost. This is something that we want to see young people take over the political space, take over governance, take over leadership. And already in that initiative, I am a co-convener of this movement. So it goes to show that this movement is already giving space for young people to champion their own cause. And I believe we are currently performing excellently. I believe the Future is Now is something born out of the belief that anything that will be done for us without us is not truly for us. So, our aim to see the young people take over decision making is a very achievable one, since young people are part of this movement. And in our today's world, there is this notion of adults' supremacy. I know there's this saying in my culture that, what an experienced adult person might see while maybe sitting down, a youth or young person might not see, even if he climbs on top of the mountain. We are taught to grow up believing that. And I agree that, wisdom comes with age comes with wisdom. But then even if you look at our youths today, they have first-hand experiences of issues. I believe pain is part of wisdom and experience. When you go through something, you truly are able to feel its impact, and you truly is able to reason how to overcome such challenges. So I believe that us youths and young people, we are not just leaders of tomorrow, but we are leaders of today. If they don't make room for us today, then they will pay the price of our absence tomorrow.
Excellent point. And can you tell us about some of the recent activities of the group? And then we go back to Henry to give us the last word.
Just recently, late last year, we had the first maiden edition of the FIN Campus Activation Program in Nasarawa State at the Federal University of Nasarawa. And we had over 300 plus students in attendance. So we taught them about the future is now, and we have this initiative on ground to have some of the students as part of the Future is Now movement, as part of ambassadors of the Future is Now at their campuses. And it went to show that a lot of students were interested to see that they take up space in the political space, they take up space in the governance because it's something they're passionate about. We currently have over 1 million youth registered on our platform who are ready to take over
from across the country.
From across the country, and this is just the beginning of the activation program. We want to activate this FIN in different campuses around the country, in different schools, so I will be able to have students, young people who are currently at the development phase of their lives to be also able to have this idea that yes, we can, and yes, we are ready to take up spaces in governance.
Excellent. Last question to Henry, and I want you to also tell us, how the movement intends to achieve its goal of shifting the power and responsibility to younger people.
Well, it's an advocacy group. We cannot fight. We're not carrying arms, but we're going to.
And it's not partisan.
And it's not partisan. I used to be a member of PDP. So many people in the movement from different parties. Until we're able to see beyond party lines, we will be restricted to the small box that we've managed to keep ourselves in the past how many decades. We need to see beyond party line. We need to see beyond religion. We need to see beyond ethnicity. It's a movement that once during our meeting, nobody knows who he is, nobody knows where anybody is. What is paramount on our mind is there is a need for a paradigm shift. It's no longer maybe, it's costly to sustain what we have today. The reason why maybe things that are happening is because the ideas that brought us to this sorry past, the brains that brought us to this sorry past, they are still the brains wanting to get us out of the mess they got us into. It's not possible. You listen to the co-convener, you can see how smart, intelligent they sound. And there are millions of them in every corner of this beautiful country. So what do we want to do? We're going to step out. Like I told you, Honorable Abdul Samad Dasuki has already sacrificed his own. He's not running for his own seat. That is a sacrifice. Now seeing that this young man, because in the past we could also consider him as a youth.
Yeah.
If we are not doing what we are doing now,
I think it's just close to 50 or something.
If we are not doing this now, if we are not being intentional in defining what a youth is, we could actually see him as this young man.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But even at that young age, he's already seeing ahead that we need to create space for our children, for our younger ones. So yes, we're going to be moving around the country. We're going to see former heads of government. We're going to visit elder statesmen, traditional rulers. We are going to appeal to them. It is time to hand over the reins of leadership to the younger generation. Let's try a new idea team. Let's try a new, let's try a new set of people. Let us compete with the global community, the global world. Let's stop this issue of, or rather where we are. We shouldn't be confined to using 1960 brain in 2026.
Excellent point.
I pray and I hope, like patriots like you who have decided to make sacrifices and be part of this, I pray that others are willing to come in. It's non-partisan. You know, there you have a lot of people who are either here or here. Nobody brings party into this.
Yeah.
You understand? This is not politics. This is about leadership. This is about our country. And we are praying that those who will be calling upon in the coming days and weeks and months would respond and see the need to hand over the reins of leadership to the next generation.
Thank you so much, Honorable Henry and Mr. Ibrahim. Like I said, this is a group that I'm also involved with. And just like Honorable Henry said, one of the things that inspired me to collaborate with Representative Abdulsamad Dasuki is the fact that not only has he articulated a vision that is noble, but he was willing to say that, look, I'm going to start by ensuring that a younger person gets my seat in the federal constituency in Sokoto State. I think that is quite unique, just like Honorable Henry said. And the group is about the future of the country, which is my own concern. You know, that is why I'm doing Inside Sources. And we believe and hope that we will continue to advocate for older politicians to be strategic and intentional in bringing younger politicians to take reign of our leadership. Thank you so much, Henry, and thank you so much, Ibrahim, for coming to Inside Sources.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. And there you have it, another edition of Inside Sources. Like we always say, Nigeria will prevail. It means Nigeria will win, partly because we will keep on raising the major issues. My name is Laulu Akonde. I'm the grace of God. I'll see you at the next edition.